to Uncle Matt Online Academy. In today's lesson, we want to continue with our discussion on multiplication of fractions. In our last lesson, we talked about multiplication of fractions, that is how to multiply different fractions together. And we learned that if you have two fractions, that if we want to multiply them, what we do is just that we multiply the ones on top together and we multiply the ones down together. For instance, if you have 1 over 2 multiplied by 1 over 3. The ones on top are these 1 and 1, and the one below 1, 2 and 3. So we say the one on top multiplied together, which is a 1 times 1, which is 1. And the one below is 2 times 3, which is 6. So this is the answer. And if we have something on top and we have another one below, and there's something that can divide between two of them, that is, if there's a factor is something that can divide two or more numbers. For instance, if you have 248, the factor is something that can divide 2, divide 4, and divide 8. 2 can divide 2, divide 4, divide 8. So 2 is a factor of 248. So if we have something on top and we have another one, a number on top and another number below, and there is a factor between two of them, you first of all have to look for the factors, divide the numbers with the factor, and reduce it so that you can reduce it to the smallest value of the numbers. Then before you now do the multiplication of the numerators, which is the ones on top, and the denominators, which are the ones below. Now, today we want to briefly talk about a case where we have maybe 3 or more fractions together and we are multiplying them. We just do the same thing that we did for 2 fractions. That is, no matter the number of the fractions involved, we just have to use to multiply the ones on top and then the ones below. For instance, if you have if you have 1 over 2 times 1 over 3 times 1 over 2, again, we just multiply everything that is on top. That is 1 times 1, then times 1, and this one 2 times 3, then times 2, which is everything on top is 1 times 1 times 1, which is 1. Then over 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. So which is 1 over 12. So no matter the number of fractions involved, you multiply the ones on top and multiply the ones below. And if there's a factor, you divide the numbers by the factor, then before you start doing your multiplication. So this is how to do multiplication of numbers that is more than 2. Now let's briefly also go to addition of fractions. Let's talk about addition of fractions. If we have 2 fractions, let's say we have 1 over 2 plus 1 over 3. Now, if we want to add fractions together, the first thing we do is to look for the LCM in the denominators. The LCM for the denominators, that is the ones below, the numbers, the values below, we have 2 and 3 below. These 2 and 3, they are the denominators. So we look for the LCM between them. There is no common factor between 2 and 3. So the LCM is 2 times 3. 2 times 3, which is 6. Now, when we have 6, we write it. Now we say the 6, which is the LCM, we use it and divide this number. And then when we divide it, we multiply whatever we get by this. So we divide it by this number. That is, we are now saying 6 divided by 2. That will give us 3. I will now say 3 times 1. It will give us 3. Now we put the plus. Now we use the same 6, which is the LCM. We divide the 6, which is the LCM, by this denominator here in the second part. 6 divided by 3 will give us 2. Then the 2 that we get, we use it and multiply the numerator for this one, which is 1. So 2 times 1 is 2. So this is going to be, we have 2 plus 3 on top and then 6 below. So the final answer is 3 plus 2 is 5 over 6. So the answer is 5 over 6. Now let's look at another example. If we have 2 over 4 plus 3 over 7. Over 7. Now what are we going to do? First of all, we check to see if there is a common factor between any of the fractions. If there's any one we can reduce, you cannot use, unlike multiplication where you can use what is here to divide what is here. If the two fractions are joined by addition, you cannot use what is here to divide what is on top here. You can only reduce a single fraction when it is joined by addition or subtraction. So for this one, you can only use 4 to divide 2 if it is possible. You can only divide between 2 and 4 and 3 and 6, 3 and 7 if it is possible. So here we have 2 and we have 3. So we have a factor between 2 and we have 2 and 4. We have a factor between 2 and 4, which is 2. So we can reduce this first fraction to 1 over 2. 2 can divide 2 to get 1, and 2 can divide 4 to get 2. Remember, we cannot use something in this fraction to divide anything in this fraction if it is separated with plus or minus. We can only divide from this fraction and this fraction if it is separated with multiplication, like the one we did in the previous lesson. Now we have reduced this one to 1 over 2. Then this one, there's no common factor between the values in this fraction, so we leave it as 3 over 7. Now we can solve. Now we say the LCM between 2 and 7. There's no common factor between 2 and 7, so the LCM becomes 2 times 7, which is 14. Now we say 14 divided by 2, we get 7. Then 7 times 1 is 7. Then 14 divided by 7, we get 2. Then 2 times 3. 2 times 3 is 6. So the answer is 7 plus 6 over 14, which is 13 over 14. So this is the final answer. If we have two over a, it can involve algebra. Algebra is when we use an alphabet to represent a number, like we can use a to represent a number. Instead of writing 2 over 4, we write 2 over a, 2 over b, or 2 over c. We put an alphabet in place of a number, and that is what we call algebra. So we can also do work on fractions involving algebra. So if we have 2 over 4, 2 over a plus 1 over 3, we can also add these two fractions together by saying we look for the LCM between a and 3. The LCM between a and 3, there is nothing that can divide a and divide 3. So we multiply two of them together. A times 3 is 3a. Now we say 3a divided by a. 3a divided by a. Now this a, we cancel this one, so remaining 3. So we have here 3. So we now have 3 times 2, which is 6. Now plus. Now you come to this place, it becomes 3a divided by 3. Now this 3 will cancel 3, remaining a. So we have here a times 1, which is a. So we are now going to have 6a plus 3a. This is the answer. We cannot add a to 6 because we don't know the value of a. So the answer becomes 6a plus 6 plus a over 3a. This is the final answer. Now, there is a case that we have an algebra, a fraction that contains algebra or algebraic fraction, and we are given the value of the alphabet. What we'll do is that at the end, we put the value of the alphabet that we have and then simplify it further. For example, if we are asked to simplify okay, we are asked to simplify this where a is equal to, this is a not 9, where a is equal to 2. Now what we are going to do is that we simplify this. At the end, when we get the final fraction, we put the value of a and simplify further. So what we are going to have is 3 over a and 2 over 3. Now we look for the LCM between a and 3, which is 3a. Becomes 3a, then over 3a divided by a, we are going to get 3, like we did previously. So 3 times 3 is 9. 3a divided by 3, we are going to get a. A times 2 is 2a. Now we have 9 plus 2a over 3a. Now we are told that a is equal to 2. So what we are going to do is that we put the value of a inside this. We use the 2 to substitute for the value of a in this. So we're going to have 9 plus 2 times a, which is 2 times 2 now, because a is equal to 2, then over 3 times a is also 2. Now we have 9 plus 2 times 2 is 4, over 3 times 2 is 6. Now which is equal to 9 plus 4 is 13. So the final answer is 13 over 6. Here we know the value of a, and now we put the value of a and simplify further. Then we get 13 over 6 as the final answer. So this is how to do addition of fractions. Now your assignment. Okay. In your assignment, you are going to evaluate the following: 3a over 2 plus 2 over b. Number 2, 4 over 5b plus 1 over 6. Then 3, 3 over 2b plus a over 2. 4, 2 over 4 times b over 2 times 1 over 8. Then 5. Now here we have 2 over 2a, 2 over 2b plus 3 over 5 plus 1 over 2, where a is equal to 5. So when you solve it, you put the value of a and then you simplify further to get the final value. Thank you.